Take your power back with our host, Peak Performance Breakthrough Coach, Kim Yeater.
Well, hello there, my freedom-loving patriots. Welcome to the Take Your Power Back show. I'm your host, Peak Performance Master Coach, Kim Yeater. Today's encouraging program will empower you to step into your God-given power, access your leadership, and allow your voice to be heard. In today's Take Your Power Back show, Operation Take Our Border Back underway, we will be discussing the current deportation strategy with Tom Homan as Border Czar, border security, and the protection of our sovereignty. Joining us for this timely conversation is Victor Avila, a retired Supervisory Special Agent with the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, Homeland Security Investigations, HSI, under the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, DHS, and author of AGENT Under Fire, Avila's true story, deconstructing the nightmare that took his partner's life. Also joining us is Gil Maza, retired 25-year Border Patrol veteran and Old Patrol HQ Border Security Analyst. We're going to take a moment to thank our sponsors who make the Take Your Power Back show possible. And when we return, we've got Victor Avila and Gil Maza in the house.
When I started MyPillow, it was just a problem solution, one product company. Well, since then, with the help of my dedicated employees, we now have hundreds of products, some you might not even know about. To get the word out, we're having a $25 extravaganza. 2-pack multi-use MyPillows, $25. MyPillow sandals, $25. And for the first time ever, our 6-pack towel sets, you guessed it, just $25. Our brand new 4-pack dish towels, $25. And I've never done this before. Premium MyPillows with all new Giza fabric, any size, any loft level, even king size for only $25. And there's so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code for our $25 extravaganza. Order $75 and over. Your entire order ships absolutely free.
Thank you, Mike Lindell. Guys, I had a great night's sleep last night. I love the little Make America Great Again pillow that Mike Lindell has. It's a perfect fit for my neck. Go get yours today. MyPillow.com/Kim. Now, you and I know that we are in the midst of economic warfare. They always tell you to follow the money. So if we follow where most purchases are bought with, purchasing from companies like Procter & Gamble, Colgate-Palmolive, Johnson & Johnson, and Unilever, when we continue to shop at the big box retailers, we're feeding into BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. I say let's bankrupt the corrupt. Let's take our power back and make the switch to a patriot, American, family-owned, debt-free manufacturer with the best of science and nature. 20 years ago, we made the switch. Best choice we ever made. Go to patriotsmade.com/Kim. That's patriotsmade.com/Kim. Take your power back and make the switch today. patriotsmade.com/Kim. All right, guys, have you heard of Verity Metals? You may or may not heard of Verity Metals. I'm going to tell you what. Matt Geiger is a dear friend, and this is a real brick and mortar silver gold company. Now, I don't know about you. I don't want paper gold. I don't want paper silver. I want to have the real actual gold and silver in my hand. And what that looks like is they have actual depositories throughout the country that you can bring your gold, where you can have the gold and silver sent. So it's lock and key. You walk in, you get what you need when you need it, and you have access. Go to veritymetals.com. That's veritymetals.com. Take your power back. Get gold and silver on hand for when you need it. veritymetals.com. All righty. Welcome back to the Take Your Power Back show. Guys, we have an incredible show today. Operation Take Our Border Back underway. We have seen what's happening at the border. We prayed that our border would close, that the wall would go back up, that we would actually have safety and security in this country. And now it is underway. And we have the experts in the house to have this Operation Take Our Border Back underway discussion. And again, Victor Avila, he is a special agent, supervisory special agent with the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, so ICE, HSI, DHS, wrote the book Agent Under Fire, his real story, deconstructing the nightmare that took his partner's life. He knows what it is to be boots on the ground. And in addition, Gil Maza, our retired 25-year Border Patrol veteran, Old Patrol HQ Border Security Analyst. These guys know exactly what's happening and what it's going to take for we the people to take our God-given power back and to secure this nation. Gentlemen, welcome to the Take Your Power Back show. Come on in.
Great to be with you.
Gil, Victor, it's just really an honor to have you here. And I got to tell our audience, you guys stood right beside us in the midst of the Take Our Border Back movement that reached tens of millions across the country. We had the opportunity to have you speak. Victor, we were on the Rainbow Bridge together, preaching the word and standing for national security with our Canadians. It was amazing. Gil, we were down here, down south in San Ysidro. You were speaking on the stage, closing that border. We went and prayed with the pastors in Mexico. It was absolutely extraordinary. We got what we wanted. We have a border that is about to be shut down, but the people are having a problem with it. I'm confused. We were just having a discussion. Victor, why don't you lead us in this discussion? Because there's so many great things that are happening right now. We're going to have a conversation about what that looks like with, Tom Homan. But, right now, what do you think what's the feel of the people out there with what's happening with this actual deportation of the criminals? Because that's really what they're focused on right now.
Well, several things. The first thing, and thank you, Kim, for having us on, is people, first of all, are getting a front row view of something that happens every day. As a matter of fact, it's not really new. It's just that now it's being very publicized, it's being recorded, it's being videotaped. And so people see this as an extraordinary thing that had never happened. No, it happens all the time under every president, even Biden. It's been happening. Here's the thing, that obviously not enough of it was happening. And so there is a blitz, if you will, a surge of numbers that want that the Trump administration want removed from this country. So you got to pick. There's several different categories of illegal aliens. They're not all the same. So they said, okay, we're going to go after the worst of the worst. Who are these people? Well, these are prior deports. These are people that illegal aliens that have criminal convictions. They have illegal aliens that have been ordered removed, deported by an immigration judge that never left because Biden never saw for them to leave. And so you have people now with the Lake and Riley Act that just passed and will be signed by President Trump, people with misdemeanors, with DUIs, assault, family violence, and other charges that before might have not qualified them to be removed will now also enter that category. That's the target. So what's happening? Well, they're going after these people. Yeah. I'll tell you what the major thing that's happening here is that they've been very clear. Tom Homan and the administration have been very clear. They're going after national security threats and public safety threats. Okay. Mm-hmm. But the major difference is that if an illegal alien that is in this country illegally standing or with or in the vicinity of one of those targets, they're going to get picked up. And that is the biggest difference that I think people didn't understand, is that under the Biden, even under Obama, I worked under this, they excluded this category and said, even Mayorkas said, if you are here illegally, just illegal, and you have no criminal history, we're not even going to consider that as illegal. That is no longer a protection. And running into a school, running into a church, into a courthouse, into a hospital is no longer going to be a sanctuary. And that's why you also see people that are only here illegally with no other conviction also being processed for removal. Now, some people, there's a lot of rumors and conversations going around the country, thinking that those people that are only here illegally are also being targeted, and that's really not the case. They have been picked up because you happen to be with another person. You don't hang out with criminal illegal aliens. That's one thing.
Right.
They're not a target, and so they think that they are a target. And so you saw Border Patrol ICE. I don't know who it was that went into a school. I just got a call, one that went into a school in Dallas, Texas, to go pick somebody up. Now the whole school is in lockdown. They're afraid. Here comes immigration to take everybody. That's not true. They're going there to pick up the person that they have a packet on, that they have a target that happens to be in the school. So if you're an illegal alien with criminal history, don't run into a school and panic everybody.
That's right. That's right. And Victor, I was listening to an interview with Tom Homan, and Tom was saying, are you taking a look at the age of the gangs, the MS-13, 14 to 17 years old? They are in these schools. They are hiding out in these churches. So listen, we've got to be wise. We've got to keep our eyes focused on protecting our communities, protecting our nation. And if we are so busy, getting caught up in this fear mongering, we are absolutely putting ourselves at risk and putting our children at risk.
That's absolutely true. And so one of the things that I know Gil will agree with me here is we want to be able to set the correct narrative, calm everybody down, take it easy. This is what the American people requested with their vote. And so it's happening. It's going to happen. And there might be, there's millions. There's over 2 million. I don't know the real number. Some people say 2.4. There's over 2 million gotaways. There's 1.7 million with a deportation order. I don't know. All I know is that there's millions of people that fit in this category. And that's going to take some time to get them. In other words, the federal government right now is very occupied with those individuals. And they're not going to do it in a week. It's going to take time to pick these people up. So the other categories of illegal aliens will come later, but that's not the case right now.
Yes. It's interesting, Gil, I'm going to come to you in just a second, but I was listening to an interview on ABC with Tom Homan, and Tom, made a comment that if the money is there, we're going to be able to do that extended work. Right now, the focus is getting out those that where it is national security. It's right. That's the real issue right now, is getting rid of the criminals. So the funding for this, I think that's one of the things we got to look at, is how are they going to fund this? There is such a mass amount of illegal immigrants. We know that 160 different nations have entered this country. They're looking at 11 million illegal immigrants have entered. Gil, how do we take our power back here? How do we bring in money to support this? I can't even wrap my head around it. 11 million people. How do you deport them?
Well, first of all, I was just here to listen to Victor, but of course, let me say, the first thing is that Tom Homan warned the sanctuary cities. He said, let us go to the prisons and clean them out, and there will be no collateral damage. But if you're going to force us to go into the neighborhoods, then we're going to sack up everybody around them, everybody we can. So the sanctuary cities literally brought this on themselves. Bill Clinton deported 12 million We never heard any outcry from the left, any kind of, Selena Gomez, with tears in her eyes about all the American citizens that were killed, right? Murdered, beaten, raped, robbed, and killed, and the ones we don't even know about across the country. Now, let's talk real quick about funding this thing. Right now, every single state in this country is shelling out $3 to $5 to $7 million a year on illegal aliens, right? So what's the cost of a human life? I say the one-time cost, and I know Trump is going to find us the money, right? They're already eliminated $50 million going to the WHO, the World Health Organization, which is a scam. Yes. They already eliminated, right, with this whole stoppage, $50 million for condoms to Gaza, okay, which is beyond ridiculous. So can we find the money? Absolutely, we can find the money. And by the way, I think that Victor would agree with me that Mayorkas set us up for success because all those processing centers that he thought he was going to have running for the next 10 years are now deportation centers.
Beautiful. Yes. Yes. As a matter of fact, I've been talking about that. We already built them. We already spent the money. And I've been to a bunch of them in El Paso, Laredo, Eagle Pass, Donna facility down in Del Rio. I've been to all these. Hey, some of they just need to be transformed to a detention facility. And there you go. Thousands of beds. Because one of the things, realistically, we do need beds. We do need beds.
100,000 is the number.
Calls came from contractors, people that they're ready. They're like, let's go. They're ready to supplement and help the federal government.
And we have millions of beds empty because this last administration was just releasing everybody, but we have millions of beds available across the country that are ready to go.
So good. I love it. America is coming together. So here's what I want to do is there's a lot of people right now that are painting a picture of Tom Homan of fear mongering. And they've got to point somebody out to be the bad guy, this border czar. I love Tom. I've had the privilege of interviewing him a couple times. Love his heart. The moment I sat in an interview, squeezed in the middle of he and Derek Maltz, I kid you not, my heart was pounding. I could feel how these guys felt like they're when you're hamstrung, you're completely hamstrung. You've got these warriors that can't do the work they're called to do. And I remember that moment. That's what propelled me to go down to the border, to see it for myself. I want to throw a video up here. This was Tom Homan, and this was in the midst of a congressional meeting. And I'll tell you, you're going to get a taste of the heart of Tom Homan. He is a mighty warrior that is standing for this country's safety and security and the protection of the children. Let's play that video.
First of all, your comments are disgusting. I've served my country. I've served my country for 34 years.
I find your comments
this is out of control.
as well.
I've served my country for 34 years. And yes, I held a 5-year-old boy in my arms in back of that tractor trailer. I knelt down beside him and said a prayer for him because I knew what his last 30 minutes of his life were like. And I had a 5-year-old son at the time. What I've been trying to do my 34 years serving my nation is to save lives. So for you to sit there and insult my integrity and my love for my country and for children, that's why this whole thing needs to be fixed. And you're the member of Congress.
We agree on that.
Fix it.
We agree on that, but I disagree. But I also disagree with your characterization of immigrants as prone to criminality.
People for 3 decades on this.
Gentlemen, time is.
Look. You want to know why there's 50,000 people in detention? You want to know why we have 1 million illegal entries in the United States? You want to know why we have these issues? Because you have failed to secure the border. You have failed to work with this president to close the 3 loopholes we've asked for 2 years to close. So if you want to know why this issue exists, you need to look in the mirror. You have failed American people for not securing the border and closing loopholes.
Mr. Homan, please respect the chair and the authority of the chair. The time of the gentleman has expired.
I've asked you politely to let me go beyond my time, and you let other people go beyond their time, but not to Tom Homan. He don't get me go beyond his time.
Mr. Homan, we have approved an agreement between the Republicans and the Democrats with the ranking member. We increased the time of one member of Congress who was interrupted by a protest. That is done with the approval of the ranking member. Please respect the chair's authority.
I respect the chair's authority, but the chair...
Mr. Homan!
You work for me. I'm a taxpayer. I'm a taxpayer. You work for me.
the recommendation of the many that you recommended family separation,
I recommend a zero tolerance.
which includes family separation.
The same as is with every U.S. citizen parent gets arrested when they're with a child.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from his
Homan, with
family.
all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're into the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking
right.
asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum and go through the port of entry, do it the legal way.
Boom.
The Attorney General of the United States has made that clear.
Okay.
We have seen one estimate that says it would cost $88 billion
All right, let's pause
to
this. We'll
deport
pause this right here. So,
a
guys,
year.
pause that. There we go. That is our border czar. Boom, boom, boom. I kid you. I love Tom. Hi, Victor. Gil,
Well-
what do you got to say?
That actually is Tom, and that's Tom in real person, and he does have a big heart. He loves this country, and one of the things is, let me tell you what they're not doing right now. They're not charging people, by the way. They're not putting an additional charge on the people that they're grabbing and prosecuting them for being illegal. They could do that. They could say you're going to go to jail and you're a 1326 B2, which is an aggravated felon. You could do that. They're just going to remove you. So think about that. All these people can be prosecuted federally, criminally. And I think people don't understand the separation between the criminal immigration system versus the administrative system in immigration. Right now, they're being processed administratively. They could, if they wanted to, process them criminally, which they're not doing. And I don't think they see that part. Like Tom Homan said, it's a violation of 1325 to be here illegally. If they're just saying, we're going to just send you back to your country, that's a win, believe it or not, for the illegal alien. Or else, if you've never done anything in your life and you're here illegally for 1325, that's 6 months in prison if you get convicted. 6 months in federal prison. And so that part is not being discussed at all as well.
Well, I'll tell you what, Gil, what are your thoughts to that?
Well, first of all, I think the people that are naysayers don't understand the extent of this monstrosity that the Biden administration did to this country with Alejandro Mayorkas, right? The greatest and deadliest taxpayer-funded illegal alien invasion and border security breach in the history of the country by every measurable metric. And that's not just hyperbole. That's not me just exaggerating. You just go to the numbers. DHS, CBP, ICE, all those numbers. And you can see that in the history of this country, we have never seen such a thing. And for the top law enforcement officer of the country to release unvetted, unsecured people, leaving the border literally virtually unsecured, like 80%, 90% of the border virtually unmanned and unsecured any given time, right? Making our Border Patrol agents, our ICE agents. I think that Victor would agree with me. We know where they all are. That's not the problem. We have investigations ongoing. We have the intel. I think me and him could drive down the street and throw a rock and hit an illegal alien. We know where they are, but it's just giving the green light to go get them. And I don't think anybody, not even us, realized just how serious this was going to be. And watching it is beautiful to behold.
It absolutely is. Guys, we're going to take a moment to thank our sponsors, but we will continue this conversation. Operation Take Our Border Back underway, discussing the current deportation strategy with Tom Homan as Border Czar, border security, the protection of our sovereignty as a nation. Let's thank our sponsors, Vic and Gil. I'll be back with you in just a moment. All righty, my freedom-loving patriots. Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Listen, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired for years. I had a daughter that had allergies. I had, one kid would get sick in the house. It would cycle throughout the whole entire family. I was dealing with eczema. I was dealing with 10% of an L5 disc, buying time for disc replacement surgery. And this baby made all the difference for me. I took my power back by making the switch from the big box retailers. I tapped into an oligo technology that shook up the entire nutritional community. This is my peak performance pack. Talk about turning the lights on within 1 hour. Inflammation is down by 16.2%. That's a game changer. If you're taking vitamins at the store, Centrum, One A Day, Shaklee, Herbalife, USANA, vitamins you find at Costco and GNC, the deal is, if they have a binder like chelate, sulfate, gluconate, fumarate, and oxide, they are crystallizing in your intestines, guys. That's not good. That is free radicals. That leads to dis-ease and aging. Take your power back. A technology called oligo that shook up the entire nutritional community mirrors fruits and vegetables at the therapeutic dose that you need. Non-GMO, bioavailable, the bomb diggity gave me and my family our health back. Go to patriotsmade.com/Kim. That's patriotsmade.com/Kim. Turn the lights on today. patriotsmade.com/Kim. All right. So are you looking behind me? Do you see that juicy beef? Hey, listen, we are a beef family. I mean, I would do beef once a week when the kids were growing up and all. And the beef was okay. It was good, but it never tasted like I'd want it to taste like when I went out to the store, right? Or when I went out to a nice steakhouse. So I found never ever hormoned or antibiotic black label beef, no Zeranol, vertical integration, cattle that roams throughout the United States, no junk in the trunk. Guys, it is the best beef I have ever eaten. I love my ribeyes, the perfect amount of fat, organic seasoning. I grill it and you're going to love it too. Less expensive than Costco. Go to freedomsteaksnow.com/Kim. That's freedomsteaksnow.com/Kim. Listen, we got to protect ourselves. This is making America healthy again. We know what goes in our body needs to be good. Go to freedomsteaksnow.com/Kim. All right, my last commercial, and these are commercials. These are really a thank you to our sponsors. If we didn't have a sponsor, we wouldn't have a show. I want to share with you guys. Hold on. I'm going to pull this out over here so that you can see it yourself. 5-Generation Warfare. Okay. You guys know the book. You know General Flynn. This is 5G warfare. Boone Cutler, General Flynn wrote this. This is the Citizen's Guide to 5th Generation Warfare, the censorship, AI, all the things that we've been going through for the past 3.5, 4 years. It is all written down in these books that you can find at FlynnMovie.com. That's right, General Flynn. You got to see his movie as well. You want to see what 5th generation warfare is? You'll learn by watching his story and getting your book today. So go to Flynn, FLYNN movie.com/Kim and learn how you know what 5th generation warfare is and how to fight it. It's not kinetic. It is all psychological and emotional. 5th generation warfare. Go get it today. FlynnMovie.com/Kim. So excited. Okay, guys, we have been in a pretty powerful conversation. I love the fact that I get to have Victor Avila and Gil Maza here. These are our Border Patrol experts. I mean, come on, you've got Victor Avila, retired Supervisory Special Agent with U.S. Immigration, Customs Enforcement. He works closely with Tom Homan. You've got Old Patrol HQ, Gil Maza, 25 years on the border. He knows what to look for. We're having the conversation today discussing the current deportation strategy with Tom Homan as Border Czar, our border security, and the protection of our sovereignty. So guys, come on into the room and let's actually go right back into, we've got the moaners and the groaners. We've got the fear mongerers saying, stop, we don't want this. Okay, guys, somewhere along the lines, people are forgetting we are a sovereign nation. We have a process in place, legal immigration. People have been waiting for years. People have come over the way they should. They've paid the money to come over. We vetted who has come into our country. I don't understand what the problem is. Where is this breakdown? Gil, let's start with you. Where is the breakdown in people's thinking?
Well, yes. Well, first of all, I'd like to clarify that Border Patrol agents don't get to be special like, the ICE agents. So I just wanted to clarify that.
You are special, Gil.
Well, thank you. But look, we knew this was coming. And that's why, I go to speak at all these Republican organizations in San Diego, and the membership's dropping. Why? Because they think Trump's in office, it's taken care of, it's done. But they don't realize that, the Democrat Party may seem like it's disoriented, down, but Victor and I know that that's when an enemy is the most dangerous. When you think that they're down and out, or you think that they have no fight left them, and now it's coming. The Nazi things, the references, all these things that were jackbooted thugs out there doing this work. There's even fake instances where they're staging their mom getting taken away by people that you can see the uniforms aren't even legit, right? So we're going to see a lot of that going out there, and that's why. Just as we did not allow the mainstream media to set the narrative through journalism like you doing here online, like the activism that Victor's doing, and a lot of us have fought our butts off, to keep this in the forefront of the public, we're going to have to keep that narrative going. And anybody that sits there and tries to argue with us that getting criminals, savage, alien, criminals out of this country, especially the gangbangers, what argument could you possibly have for that?
100%, Victor.
I agree 100%. I think that because of the last 4 years, the Biden administration normalized this. They made it look like getting free housing, free health care. You're not really illegal because they mix legal immigration and illegal immigration. They treat it the same. They call everybody an immigrant, and that's not true. There's a huge separation. We understand that, and we've worked. It's a huge difference. But the left has done a good job of blending it all, mixing it all up, and here we are. That all of a sudden, when enforcement is coming and your law and order is at the top of the ticket, you are going to have these reactions. Wait until you actually see other people get arrested, because right now this is nothing. There are schools and family units, and they're only going to show you the crying baby. One thing that I talk about, the separation of families, is it's not going to be the government. It's not going to be our decision anymore. It's going to be that parent. We took away the accountability of the illegal alien themselves. Everybody stopped talking about, hey, listen, I know you had a terrible journey and there was rapes and all these things, these bad things happened to you. But you decided, there was a point where you said, I'm leaving Uzbekistan, I'm leaving Ghana, I'm leaving China, I'm leaving Venezuela, and I'm purposely mentioning all these other countries other than Mexico and Central America, because everybody forgot that there's people from all over the world too, even though we know the big chunk of numbers are from right here, Mexico and Central America. But there's got to be some burden placed back on them and say, listen, you consciously make this decision. Now, when you get encountered and your U.S. citizen child, you have to make a decision, not the federal government. You, the parent, are going to say, do you want to leave your child here and separate yourself, or do you want to take them with you? Because this is how this government is going to function. We will allow you to take your U.S. citizen. That doesn't mean that we're deporting the U.S. citizen person. Right. It means that the child is following in the parents in their child. That's it. I would never separate myself from my children. So the decision is going to be placed on them. That's what we have to say, because the news is going to say, you family separators, you destroy families.
Psychological warfare. This is fifth generation warfare.
There's got to be responsibility back on them.
So good. So that's one of the things that Tom keeps talking about is they've got to take responsibility, right? And then we also need to take responsibility for what we've allowed, okay? And then there's consequences to our choices. We all know that. We grow up that if you touch the stove, you're going to get burned. There's certain things we know. I don't want to mess with the law. I don't want to have issues with the law. So why would I go and break the law? Would I go into another country and do this and do what they're doing here? I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't put myself in that situation. So there are natural consequences to our choices. Now, I love the fact, Victor, that you said earlier that we're not even charging them. We're not even in prison. We are lovingly releasing them. Go home. Go home. Now, I love what just happened in Colombia. It was Colombia, right? Where they sent home. So here we're sending over all of these criminals back to them. We let them know we're in communication. They send back 2 planes. And Gil, what does Trump say?
From the golf course, right? Literally, he starts in one hole and he responds to Colombia saying, you will. Right? Or we're going to enforce these tariffs and we're just going to, shove this up where the sun don't shine. And by his, I guess, 50th hole, it completely turned around. It was beautiful.
So awesome. And then the president of Colombia, didn't he send his own plane here to pick them up?
Yes.
You know what I think is going to happen, Kim? I think, and tell me what you think about this, Gil. I think that's going to happen here in the States with a sanctuary city. I think there's going to be a mayor or a governor challenge President Trump, impede with some of the Border Patrol and ICE deportations, and there's going to be that showdown. I think it's going to happen here locally, and I can't wait to the response from President Trump on cutting off these cities and funding because they're sanctuary cities. And right now, if you notice, New York and they're playing around. They're not. The mayor of New York, Eric Adams, sat with Tom Homan and basically said, "I'm going to work with you." Well, Tom was on the news yesterday saying, "Well, what the heck happened? We were in New York yesterday. You will not. Why won't you open Rikers Island? Why won't you let us go in there and get all these bad guys that are in jail? Obviously, they're bad guys because they're in jail, and let's get them there in a controlled environment." Why are you not letting us in? Why are you not letting us in the Denver jail? Why are you not letting us in the Cook County jail in Chicago?
That's right, Governor.
That's really where it's going to come down to. Let me tell you, they're forcing the hand of the federal government, and we know that Trump has it ready where it is going to be some kind of funding cutoff for that state or for that city. A lot of the money that they depend on for incarceration, for example, for these county jails comes from the federal government. Maybe that money is going to stop flowing down there.
Well, Gil, you and I are both here in San Diego. We're both in Southern California. So we live right by the border. And they just labeled this a super sanctuary city. I was down at the Border Supervisors, spoke at a press conference, putting every single one of those border supervisors on watch. Okay. Now, a week later, and it wasn't just me, it was the people standing up. We had Nora Vargas resign. She was in charge of the border supervisors. Amazing. She felt threatened. Now, listen, nobody was threatening her. We're just letting her know there are consequences to your choices. You're choosing to harbor. This is, what is it called? Abetting in criminal. I mean, they're supporting this criminal activity by a criminal. A super
aiding and abetting.
Aiding and abetting. That's what I was looking for. I mean, it is unconstitutional, period, to have a sanctuary state. Okay. So this needs to change. So Gil, what do you think is going to happen here in San Diego? I'm reaching out to Tom going, send me in, coach. What do you need? I'm here.
Yeah. Well, again, like Victor said, right? Be careful what you wish for. So the country voted for Trump, powerfully mandated him to secure the border and get these deportations done. And now they're starting to realize the extent of what they asked for. Right. So, yeah, Victor, there is going to be, I think, economic sanctions, not just on Colombia and other countries that don't cooperate. There's going to be economic sanctions on those sanctuary cities. And if they want, and all of them, everybody wants to do sanctuary stuff until it's time to do sanctuary stuff. Right. They want to get paid. And Eric Adams, that's all he ever wanted, Victor, Kim. That's all he ever wanted. He never came to the right side. He never came to, all he wanted was more money to keep funding them. And Chicago's crying out for it, right? Denver's crying out for it. New York's crying, all these cities crying out for it because millions and millions and millions of dollars. By the way, Mexico is crying out for it. I was watching news where all these citizens of Mexico are going, all the money that was supposed to go to citizens that, never makes it to us anyway, but it somehow does make it to all these illegal aliens that are coming in from other countries because they funnel through there. Where's our help? Where's our medical? Where's our, food? They get nothing. And they're walking around and their neighborhoods are peppered with, shanties and built up, makeshift houses. So their citizens in Mexico are crying out for the same thing. So while the left is going to scream and shout and yell, I think America, to a certain extent, is sick of it, is done with it. But, you got to be careful. And it's not the time to sit back and watch it happen. We're going to have to stay on this administration and on the news media and on social media, I think even more than before, to make sure that narrative never catches on.
Yeah, that is so good.
I say this all the time. People are on the couch. Well, I voted for Trump. I'm done. No.
Just getting started.
You better be active in your local community. You better get active and pay attention because this is actually the time. President Trump can't do it by himself. He needs our help, everybody's help here, especially with the new administration coming together. It's a team effort here. But I tell you, I watch a lot of the Mexican news and talking about the money. $65 billion was sent back in remittances last year to Mexico alone, because there's about 10.2 million, they say, Mexican nationals in the U.S. That's a lot of money. Mexico is depending on that money. There's part of their GDP. People, like you said, Gil, they're building their houses. They're literally maintaining themselves and living off of the money that the illegal is sending from the U.S. That's what they fear that they're going to lose, because they haven't been able to sustain their own citizens. The other thing is, obviously, we haven't even mentioned here, is the cartels.
Yeah.
The Mexican government, yesterday, Claudia Sheinbaum, the president of Mexico, blamed the United States. It's our fault for arresting Mayo Zambada, one of the head of the Sinaloa cartel, who is big war going on there in Sonora and Culiacan area. It's our fault that they're in a war in Mexico. This is the type of mentality that Mexico has. And let me tell you, in the background, people are telling me that Mexico really wants to work. They want to help. They want to coordinate with the United States. They can't do it publicly because they'll get attacked.
Let me throw this out there. So some of the things that are going through my mind as you're sharing right now is I'm thinking about the $1,000 bounty hunters. So that's one of the things I want to definitely touch on, is just that concept of these bounty hunters going out and bringing in these illegal aliens or illegal immigrants, right? So let's touch on that. But then I'm also thinking about the families, like those families that, maybe they've become friends. Maybe they've been on soccer teams, or they have been in communities where these illegal immigrants have come in, and they're there for, they're not necessarily the criminals, right? But they came over during that open border period, and they're becoming friends with them, and they maybe know that they don't have work, and so maybe they're giving them side jobs and things so that they can feed their families. Like, how do we navigate through that? And then how do we navigate through this $1,000 given to a bounty hunter to go get these illegal immigrants? And who are they going to get? So these are just different thoughts going through people's minds. So, gentlemen, I'm opening that up. Whoever wants to respond.
Well, real quick, I just want to piggyback on the whole cartel thing because you're right, Victor, we don't talk about that enough. And I don't think America realizes that the cartels have had 100%, and tell me if I'm wrong, 100% control of this border. They've had control of parts of the border. Yes, it's always been the case. That's nothing new. But under this last administration, they have been able to take control of 100% of this border. And now, if we think they're just going to give it up willy-nilly, just yesterday or the day before, we had a 3-hour firefight in Fronton Island, Texas. 3 hours, our agents pinned down. BORTAC had to come in, the DPS had to come in and help mitigate that. And that was just over a group of aliens. Could you imagine dope? Could you imagine something else? So this isn't going to go away quietly. And every single state in this country has a foothold through whatever gangbangers, the gangs and organizations from all these other countries have footholds in all these cities. So it's about to get worse before it gets better.
Buckle up.
Now here's the
No, I was going to say, Gil, there will be a reaction from the cartel. There will be a reaction.
Well,
it's already started. It's already started. Now, if I have a warrant to arrest a neighbor of somebody else that goes to school and goes to play basketball or baseball or participates in the PTA, but they have a warrant for their arrest, I don't think twice about arresting that person, regardless of the effect that he has on his neighbors or community or anything else. And that's what we're doing here. It's going to be a long while before, and hopefully we do do employer sanctions, make sure that you have the right ID to get food stamps, welfare, to be able to even get a job, to be able to put your kids in school. Hopefully we put that in place, but that's a long time coming. We have a large job just getting rid of the criminals. So please don't tell me that, these poor families are going to suffer because we took their friend and coworker and fellow PTA member, because we allowed that to happen. Yes. And by the way, the sanctuary cities are responsible because, like Victor said, we said we'll go to the prisons first, but you forced them to go into the community, and we're not going to ignore anybody that's illegal there. So
Gil, what I hear you saying is we need to not fall into sentimentality. Victor, you've got 1 minute left before you've got to move into a meeting. What are your words for the people right now?
I say, listen, I think we need to approach this with compassion. The illegals that came here, and sometimes they got invited by the Biden administration. So if you want to be upset at anybody, be upset at Biden for allowing you to make this journey and promising you the world and making you illegally present in this country. That's what you're supposed to be upset at, because what they should have done is allow you to come here legally. If they would have wanted to really want you to come in, they would have fixed the immigration system, the legal one, to process you and vet you properly. But they didn't. They did it the wrong way. CBP One app is unlawful. It's illegal. The parole, all that is illegal. So these people actually are not having status. But we're compassionate people. We're humanitarians. We understand these are real people, and we will be treating them with humanitarian, just the way the Biden administration allowed millions of people in here with under humanitarian care. We're going to do the same way. We're going to treat you very well. We're going to make sure that you get your due process, humanitarian, but we're going to process you the other way out.
Yes.
Victor, you are amazing. We just love you so much. Thank you for bringing truth in today. Thank you for reminding us to be compassionate, but to also stand for truth and protect this country and protect our sovereignty. We love you. We're going to have you back again. Stay with me, Gil. God bless.
Thank you.
Wow, Gil. Wow.
Yes, it's incredible, right? Mm-hmm. It's incredible. And again, this is something that the American people asked for. And yes, the cure is going to hurt a little worse than the disease right now, right? But this has been a long time coming. And this last administration, and again, people don't realize what this last administration did to us, did to America intrinsically. It's going to take a good long time, probably longer than Trump has in office. But at the rate he's going, I have so much hope, much hope. That yes, we can turn this around in 4 years, Kim, if we stand firm and we stand on course and we don't falter. we have the courage of our convictions to stand tall. As Americans got Trump in. Let's keep him there, and let's keep him
there. We gotta fight. I mean, this whole fight. It's just beginning for all of us. You know what I find interesting, Gil, is the military just came into California to turn the water on, right? Do you know how long we've been dealing with these water issues? And with the snap of a finger, within days of President Trump being in office, we actually have water moving in the direction where it needs to move to take care of our agriculture so that we can keep our country fed, right? Now, what's going to happen when these guys enter California? We know that there's some military right now in LA, right? And I think Orange County, but when they're here on the border, man, we got to get ready. I think we need to be shored up, but we need to be having the tough conversations with the people around us. Because if we continue to buy the narrative that they're selling us, to this falling into this sentimentality, right? We're going to lose the country, and we're going to lose a lot of lives.
Well, Kim, this is the one thing a lot of people don't talk about, right? A lot of it that I get asked is my Democrat friends say, but Gil, who's going to pick the crops? Who's going to do our landscaping? Who's going to clean our houses, right? And the Republican side is, Gil, Americans don't want to do that job. Who's going to do that job, Gil? And I say to myself, we have hundreds of thousands of legal immigrants that want to come into the country legally, do those jobs. But, oh my God, Kim, we're going to have to pay them a legal and fair wage. We can't do that. And that's on both sides of the aisle.
That is 100%. I was speaking with a reporter the other day, Gil. She's amazing, working with her on a project right now. And so there's a story that's about to break. So she is interviewing all of the farmers and ranchers in California. And here's what she's finding is there are farms right now where there is so much produce left on the land. They don't have the pickers because the illegal immigrants are running off afraid that they're going to get taken. So I think that ultimately we have to take a look at what we've allowed. We've allowed this process for quite some time, and the process is broken. So we got to figure out a way how we can, get the legal people legal, go through the process of immigrants becoming legal. They need to come in the right way, number one. I think if they've been here for years and they have shown themselves to have integrity, to pay taxes, if they have been here in that way, then I think that they should stay here. We got to figure that out. And I know we are. We're not just throwing out the baby with the bathwater. But there is one other piece to this story that I think is important, Gil. And right now, there are those ranches these farmlands where these illegal immigrants are being hired and they're making $7 a day. And one of these fields in particular is known as the rape field. So if you work for this farmer and this rancher, you can just know that in order to get paid, you're going to go through the rape process. Now, that's not all farmers. That's not all ranchers. That is, you've got these middlemen they're dealing with, the middleman between the illegal immigrant and the rancher or farmer, right? They are the ones that are making the money. They're the ones that are allowing this. So we got to just tear all of that apart and put a structure in place that really works for America and that secures our nation.
But we do have a structure in place, Kim. The thing about it is, again, we could populate every single one of those farms with legal aliens.
Yeah, you're right.
No problem. But nobody wants to pay the money. And the problem is that it's not just the rape farms. Almost all these farms and everything else that's crying and complaining. Here's the thing. We've had a subculture in this country paying people this $7 an hour or less or whatever, or just room and board to do these crops, to do all these things. And we've took a blind eye for decades about that, for decades. So we literally have allowed a slave class to survive in this country for the benefit of the Republican and the Democrat. So let's close that down. Let's shut that down. Let's bring legal work in here, raise the wages. If we, I'll even consider subsidizing and helping some farms out to be able to, handle the shift in cost, to pay these people a living wage. And if you want to talk about legalizing them, then let's do it at a case-by-case basis. Case-by-case basis, right?
Come on, so well said.
There's not a problem. It's really not as big of a problem as people think it is.
Well, you know what? It's not. And there is a solution. And we do have what we need right now. It's a matter of just coming to the drawing board and creating. So we know that we've got to fix what's so, for sure. And we've got to work together in order to do that. I want to pull up a video real quick. I loved this video, Gil. This video was an ABC video that was done a couple of days ago with Tom Homan. And I love this because Tom talks about what it's going to take for us to have success. So Liam, let's pick up that video. Let's pull that up real quick. And that's that second video there. It's the ABC video with Tom Homan. And I think, first of all, they picked a reporter that looked unhappy and disgruntled on purpose so that they could feed into the narrative. Let's hear more.
Yeah. First appointments Donald Trump made after winning the election in November was tapping one man to be what he calls his Border Czar. Tom Homan is a former Border Patrol agent and acting director of ICE with decades of experience in Republican and Democratic administrations. I sat down with him this week and began our conversation by asking him about the role of the U.S. military.
We got military on the border, not only helping us with departure flights on military planes, but they're helping to build infrastructure. They're putting up Constantino wire. They're down there to create a secure border and lock that border down. And DOD's helped administrations before, but not at this level. So it's a force multiplier, and it's sending a strong signal to the world. Our border's closed.
So is this what we will see every single day, ending in what the president has promised is millions and millions being deported?
Yes. But you can see the numbers steadily increase, the number of arrests nationwide as we open up the aperture. Right now it's concentrating public safety threats, national security threats. That's a smaller population. So we're going to do this on priority base, as President Trump's promised, but as that aperture opens, there'll be more arrests nationwide.
When you talk about the aperture opening, the estimates of perhaps those who have been convicted or arrested in the past, 700,000 to over 1 million. So after you do that, then you go after everybody who is there illegally.
If you're in the country illegally, you're on the table, because it's not okay to violate laws of this country. You got to remember, every time you enter this country illegally, you violated a crime under Title 8 United States Code 1325. It's a crime. So if you're in the country illegally, you got a problem. Right. And that's why I'm hoping those who are in the country illegally who have not been ordered removed by the federal judge should leave.
While you are emphasizing that you go after national security threats, you have said no one's off the table. If you're in the country illegally, you better be looking over your shoulder. You should be afraid and start packing now. Is that what you're doing to get hotel workers out or people working on farms, that they'll be so scared?
I love the manipulation
they just
here.
leave?
Look, I think if you're in the country illegally, it's not okay. It's not okay to violate laws of this country. We have millions of people standing in line, taking the test, doing their background investigation, paying the fees, that want to come in the right way.
Let's talk about the arrests so far. Numbers released the first day were over 500, and there were reports that one was a suspected terrorist, others were gang members. Were all of the people who were arrested on day one, as far as you know, convicted criminals or those who had been arrested before?
No. Let me explain that. There are collateral arrests. Where do collateral arrests happen? Sanctuary cities. And this is important we understand that. Sanctuary cities lock us out of the jails. So instead of ICE being able to arrest the bad guy, the criminal alien, in the safety and security of a jail where the officer's safe, the alien's safe, and the public's safe, sanctuary cities release them back in the community, which endangers the community, putting the criminal alien back in the community. But when we find him, he's going to be with others, most likely. Many times they're with others. If they're in the country illegally, they're coming too.
But were these arrests all in sanctuary cities? It doesn't appear so on the first day.
The collaterals, many more. I don't have the exact breakdown, but again.
So the arrests in Massachusetts, in Chelsea, Massachusetts, which the governor said it's great to arrest the criminals who have been convicted. But were there people taken there as well who were not convicted? Were they, as you say, collateral?
I'm sure they are.
You talk about these numbers expanding. 500 the first day. What do you think you can get up to?
As many as we can get.
What can happen at this point, given your manpower?
Look, I think we're in the beginning stages. We're bringing more resources into this operation.
Yeah.
As a whole of government, we're going to have DOJ assisting us. And like the DOD piece, helping build infrastructure, helping the transportation, that takes ICE, badges and guns out of those duties and puts them on the street.
I want to go back to who you're deporting. Aside from the long list of executive actions, the administration said it will no longer tell ICE agents they have to avoid sensitive locations, including schools, hospitals, churches. Benjamin Huffman, the acting Homeland Security Secretary, said in a statement, criminals will no longer be able to hide in America's schools and churches to avoid arrest. What
criminals? That's right.
Middle schools, elementary schools. You going to go into those?
How many MS-13 members are the age of 14 to 17? Many of them.
Yeah.
So, look, if it's a national security threat, public safety threat, and what you need to understand is a case by case. Name another agency, another law enforcement agency that has those type of requirements that they can't walk into a school or a doctor's office or on a medical campus. No other agencies have those standards. These are well-trained officers with a lot of discretion. And when it comes to the sensitive location, there's still going to be supervisory review. So it's not like it's an open issue, but ICE officers should have discretion to decide if a national security threat or a public safety threat in one of these facilities, then there should be an option for them to make the arrest.
But someday you could go into those schools and grab people who are just in the country illegally.
On a case-by-case basis, depending who they are, what the circumstances are. It's never a zero game.
You know that this creates fear in the immigrant community. The chair of the U.S. Conference of Bishops Committee said turning places of care, healing, and solace into places of fear and uncertainty for those in need while endangering the trust between pastors, providers, educators, and the people they serve will not make our communities safer.
Yeah.
Well, look, here's the thing. If Congress has a job to do. We're enforcing the laws Congress enacted and the president signed. If they don't like it, change the law. I find it hard to believe any member of Congress is telling us not to enforce the law that they enacted and they fund us to do.
But opening up to anyone who's in the country illegally and going into schools and grabbing them, does that, kids, adults?
The message needs to be clear. There's consequences for entering the country illegally.
That's right.
If we don't show there's consequences, you're never going to fix the border problem.
Estimates are that there are 11 million undocumented immigrants in this country right now. How can you possibly afford to deport all of those people?
Well, I'll leave it up to Congress. I think Congress, the president has a mandate. This was the number one issue that people voted on. I think Congress has a mandate to give us money we need. What price do you put on national security?
More detention centers?
What price do you put on? What price do you put on all these young ladies that have been raped and murdered and burned alive? What price do you put on that? Yeah. What price do you put on Lincoln Riley's life? What price do you put on national security? Like I just explained, when you have a surge like this, we don't secure that border. That's when national security threats enter the country. That's when sex trafficking goes up. That's when the fentanyl comes in. It kills 250,000 Americans. I don't care about that.
And on those detention centers, do you need more beds? I think there's 41,000 now, 100,000. So where do you get those beds? Do you build more camps? Do you do this military installations in Texas and elsewhere?
A little bit of everything. We can build all-side facilities. We can expand our contracts to outside contractors. So yeah, we're going to need more ICE beds. A minimum of 100,000. Congress needs to come to the table quick and give us the money we need to secure that border.
Let's talk about those flights again. With the host countries, you flew all of those people back. Were all of the people arrested on the first day, for instance, repatriated? And what about those countries that won't take them back?
Oh, they'll take them back.
What do you mean by that?
We got President Trump coming to power. President Trump puts America first. Mexico didn't want to remain in the Mexico program. Under the first administration, they did it. They didn't want to put military in the southern border. They did it.
How do you convince them?
El Salvador didn't want to take MS-13 members back. It took President Trump 48 hours to make that happen. President Trump's going to put America first. And if it doesn't, then we'll place my third safe country.
All appointments through the CBP app have been canceled. That is a legal way to claim asylum and get in the country. So what should people do who are seeking asylum? How do you do it?
Go to the embassy, go to the port of entry.
Yes.
Do it the legal way.
Yes.
You shouldn't come to this country and ask to get asylum, and the first thing you do is break our laws by entering illegally.
Right.
So tell me what the definition of success is over the next 6 months, over the next year, by the end of the administration. What is mission accomplished here?
Taking as many public safety threats off the street as possible.
Amen.
Watching illegal alien crime in the United States decrease.
Right.
Ending it.
Yes.
Deporting every illegal alien gang member in this country, including Trenda Awa and MS-13. Making our country safe. When we see the crime rate from illegal aliens go down, that's a success. Every public safety threat we remove from this country is success. Every national security threat that we find removed from the country is success. There's no number on it. So my success can be based on what Congress gives us. More money, the better we're going to do.
I notice you didn't put in that list of things that will be mission accomplished and success, getting every immigrant who is in the country illegally out.
He's a broken record.
Because I'm being realistic.
Yep.
We can do what we can with the money we have.
That's
We're going to try to be efficient, but with more money we have, the more we can accomplish. If I don't have the money to remove that many people, then I'm not going to sit here and. One thing, no one can say I haven't been frank in everything I've said. Our success every day is taking a public safety threat off the streets or getting a national security threat out of here.
Come on, let's pause that video.
Tom Homan.
All right, Gil.
I mean, what else can be said? The guys laid it out there, yeah?
We are very blessed to have somebody seasoned like Tom Homan as our
like nobody else.
Yeah, he is leading the pack. He's not afraid to stand up.
Yeah, I thought initially he might not been the man for the job in the sense of the scope of it, but I was so wrong. And this guy has come in, and Trump has come in every aspect of government, even financially, right? Everybody cries about being fiscally responsible, but the moment that it's getting done, that the adults take over and actually start running things and start taking care of our taxpayer dollars, everybody's crying foul. So we're going to see a lot of that, Kim, and that's why we have to hammer it home against that narrative. And we did such a good job of countering the narrative last time. We got to do this again.
Yes.
And we have 4 years.
We've got 4 years. So, Gil, I have a feeling that you and I will be doing some more speaking events together. We're not done yet. We're really just getting started, aren't we?
Well, that is icing on my life's cake, Kim, to work with you.
Oh, you're so awesome. Well, Gil, I'm so grateful that you were here today. And, I'm going to ask you one final question before we close on out. And then I'm going to share with you a live that we have coming up tomorrow, which is going to be pretty ground shaking. But let's just navigate for a second or transition to the spiritual battle we're in. It is really easy to go to a place of fight, flight, and freeze. That is a very human condition.
Correct.
And without God, it's the automatic of where we go in our human nature. So would you speak to how we, the people, can step into our God-given power so that we can be in a higher level of consciousness, to have the wisdom and discernment to navigate through this and to stand firm to the very end?
Well, the thing about it is that we're told in the scriptures that this is a spiritual battle. We don't go to heaven based on who we vote for. We don't go to heaven based on government policy, right? The kingdom of God has to right itself first, Kim. Has to right itself first. Put God in the center of our lives. Get our lives right with God. Right? Start walking the path. I remember a great movie I saw, and it was about Joan of Arc, and it was Ingrid Bergman. It's a classic. It's a beauty. And I remember her walking through the camp and looking at the soldiers, with prostitutes, gambling, drinking, getting drunk. And she goes to the generals. She says, it's not enough that God is on our side. We have to be on God's side.
Yes.
Right? We've seen 4 years demonic activities, sending people dressed like demons to preach to our children in elementary school, having parents applaud when half naked, full naked men are waving themselves and waving their butts in front of their little children in parades and in classrooms, in churches and in organizations. We have seen basically the lunatics run the asylum, and morally as about despicable as you can get, because it's no longer on cable channel. It's no longer changed the channel. It is in our face.
Yes.
And if the man or woman of God does not put on the full armor of God, first and foremost.
Ephesians, yes.
What business do you have trying to go out there and trying to move and change the country with anything?
Yes. Oh my gosh. That was so beautifully said, to put on the full armor of God. You guys go to the word today, read that in Ephesians. Absolutely incredible, because this war that we're in is a spiritual war. And I got to tell you, Gil, do you know there's only 3 people in this world that were my models and mentors? One was my grandma, who is a 4'11", bottle-capped glasses, Portuguese little woman that wobbled. Amazing heart for Jesus. Love my Grandma B. And then there was Wonder Woman. Of course, I always wanted to be Wonder Woman because she was a woman that was like, she had integrity. She was willing to stand for truth, fight corruption. And
had to be Linda Carter, right?
Linda Carter. And then Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc was one of those people that I felt like, out of all of these women warriors that I read, I felt like I connected with her most. So we all have the ability to step into our warrior. And I believe that that warrior within is that light. That is the connection to our creator, that godly warrior. So we've got to put on our full armor. So go to Ephesians, read that today. Gil, thank you so much for being with us. It's always an absolute pleasure and joy. Thank you for being a stand for freedom. People can find you. Tell us where people can find you, can follow you, and to listen to your shows to stay updated on the border.
Okay, thank you for that very much, Kim. First of all, we have borderwatchdaily.com to catch up on everything that's going on the border, not just what the news is saying or what the news is printing, but editorials from Border Patrol agents, retired Border Patrol agents, Border Patrol wives, you name it. It's all there for them in a one-stop shop. Secondly, I'm on X at Old Patrol HQ. I'm on Instagram at Old Patrol HQ, and I'm on Facebook also as Old Patrol HQ. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. You know, it is a pleasure working with you, because I think that we have a lot of work ahead of us as well. And God bless you for what you've been doing, bringing all these people. I mean, you put me on the same place with Victor Avila. I'm not going to take a shower for 2 weeks now.
You're awesome. Oh, man, we have both been blessed today by Victor and Gil. Victor and I are blessed by having you. You know, thank you so much for being, you know, having a heart for God, for having a heart for the people, and for having a heart and a mission to secure our border and to secure our country. I love you. God bless you. And God speed Gil Maza.
You too, Kim. Love you.
Love you too. Guys, what an incredible show today. You know, so I'll tell you what, to be able to have warriors like this in the room is pretty special. So an incredible show today. And I want to thank all of you for being with us, but don't go yet. Our Operation Take Our Border Back underway is really the beginning of what's next. Now, we know with Take Our Border Back, we reached tens of millions across the country. We created the Take Our Border Back North America Alliance, partnering with Canada and Mexico as sovereign nations, giving power back to the people. We truly activated the people. We saw Governor Abbott close that border. We've seen children rescued. And here's the coolest thing right now with Tom Homan in place. Those children are finally being rescued. Thank you. And yes, Mayorkas should be hung. Absolutely. So here's the deal. We have a big event coming up. You see, we know that everything that's happened with the border is a bleeding over of the bigger agenda. So the former administration and the global elites have an agenda to take this country down. You've all heard of the 15-minute cities. You've heard of the fires in different places. And there's so much, I can't even put it in one sentence, but I'm going to tell you this. We have got to know how to handle this. And we have a case we're going to bring before you tomorrow. And we will be here live at 10 a.m. Pacific. We're going to be here live at 11 a.m. Mountain Time, 12 p.m. Central, and 1 p.m. Eastern. It is called Operation Clean Sweep. We're looking at a civil RICO case that is about to go criminal. Retired Assistant Chief Sean Taylor and former City Attorney Bryant Kroll uncover the witch hunt against Millersville Police Department and Veterans for Child Rescue. We are exposing the evidence, the hardcore evidence. This is a a series of 3 shows exposing evidence of mass corruption on a transnational level, with tentacles far and wide from Canada to the Ukraine, the BRICS nations to China. We're talking election fraud, voter fraud, geopolitical shifting, human trafficking cover-ups, fraudulent mortgages, hundreds of billions, if not trillions, in fraud and embezzlement. This is systematic corruption. The civil federal RICO case opens the door for a criminal RICO case. It's a template for every single one of us fighting this corruption. Right here, we're meeting tomorrow. I'm going to play the 3rd video of today. This video is going to introduce you to Assistant Chief, actually retired Assistant Chief Sean Taylor, and former city attorney Bryant Kroll. But I want you guys to know it will be on this platform, or you can go to rumble.com/take your power back show /live. That's rumble.com/take your power back show /live. This is literally, if you've seen any detective show and you've seen a murder board, I want you to imagine this. 16 years, Sean Taylor has put the pieces together on a murder board. You are going to have that evidence. So if you're somebody who has been fighting for, you've seen the election fraud, you've seen the mortgage fraud, you've seen the human trafficking being hidden, okay, all of the corruption in this country, from giving money to the Ukraine being funneled through Canada. Guys, if you have been fighting this war, you want to be here for this show, because it's going to support you. You will have the template you need to fight this fight to take our country back. Let's play that video right now with Assistant Chief Sean Taylor and former city attorney Bryant Kroll.
Hello, everyone. I'm retired Assistant Chief Sean Taylor. I'm here today to tell you about a series of shows that we're going to be doing. These shows are going to explain to you, the people, how you can take your power back and help President Trump fight the corruption that has plagued our nation. We're going to be discussing the corruption. We're going to be talking about the systemic voter fraud, the systemic election fraud, mortgage fraud, and especially child trafficking, and how the city of Millersville was targeted by the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, Kim Kelly, and several others to attack us and discredit us. But as you know, America still stands because people stood up and they fought back. So the series of shows that we're going to be doing is going to be educating the people, we the people, because again, President Trump is one man. He needs all of us to come together to assist him in this fight. What we've done is we've come up with a civil RICO case to start attacking this corruption. And I'd like to introduce the attorney that's doing this, the former city attorney of Millersville, Bryant Kroll. Bryant Kroll has already filed a civil RICO case in Tennessee regarding all of the things we have discussed.
Thank you, Sean. As viewers are aware of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation raid on your house, but the lawsuit I filed on behalf of 2 Millersville detectives reveals how they were working with Sean Taylor to investigate money laundering, corruption, voter fraud, and election fraud shortly before the TBI executed those raids. Now, RICO cases are popular in the news lately, so we hope to educate viewers on how they work, what racketeering is and what it includes, and things of that nature. This lawsuit reveals government overreach, retaliation, violations of constitutional rights, and a racketeering scheme that obstructed a lawful police investigation into child trafficking and was there to arrest pedophiles that were in and around Millersville, Tennessee. Now, the lawsuit quotes disturbing admissions from defendants Kim Kelly and Phil Drake, who are alleged to have orchestrated a racketeering scheme involving targeting individuals to financially exploit them for their own personal gain. The lawsuit alleges that the detectives infiltrated the undercover infiltrated the undercover pedophile sting conducted by the Millersville Police Department, and then provided the TBI and media with fabricated evidence, false statements, and edited recordings in order to target these detectives and promote their own unlawful business, a business which involved purchasing trafficked children and concealing them at a compound at an undisclosed location. We'll go through the lawsuit and show how Sean Taylor actually created a task force among various state agencies, which included the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, the purpose of which was to combat various issues of corruption, election fraud, voter fraud, mortgage fraud, and money laundering. Detectives Todd Doris and Michael Candler were investigating these crimes. They'd accumulated the evidence and had even invited the local district attorney to come discuss the case over lunch. Instead of allowing these detectives to present these issues, the TBI executed a public raid, taking the evidence by force. We will discuss not only what was taken from Sean Taylor's house, but also what was left behind. The lawsuit alleges concerning acts and omissions occurring among government officials at multiple levels. Join us as we break down this lawsuit, which may serve as a template for citizens in other states to use to hold their officials accountable. The show will air Thursday, January 30th at 10 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Central, and 1 p.m. Eastern on rumble.com/takeyourpowerbackshow/live.
It's time, people. It's time we, the people, get together, take our power back, and start getting some accountability. The accountability is what matters. That's how we're going to ensure the future for our children and our grandchildren to make this country great again. God bless, and we'll see you soon.
Join us tomorrow. Tomorrow, Operation Clean Sweep. We will be right here at 10 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Mountain, 12 p.m. Central, and 1 p.m. Eastern. Get ready. It's going to be a power hour and 15. You want to hear this evidence. This is going to provide you with what you need to take this RICO case as your template to fight corruption, and you deserve to know how this corruption is occurring and where it's happening right in your neck of the woods. So join us tomorrow, Operation Clean Sweep. Well, guys, this has been an incredible show. I am so grateful to have been with you again today. We had incredible guests, Victor Avila. We had Gil Maza, our warriors. And go get Victor's book, Agent Under Fire. Follow them both. And together, we all will take our border back. We will take this country back. We will make this country great again. So with that being said, I'm going to see you all tomorrow. Follow me on X, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Facebook. You can follow us on Rumble. You can also follow our Take Our Border Back movement as well. You can find us on all podcast platforms. And you can support the Take Your Power Back show by going to takeyourpowerbackshow.com. You'll find our shows there, and you'll find the donation link. $1, $5, $10, whatever you can give keeps freedom alive. That's takeyourpowerbackshow.com. And without further ado, I want to close out the show today reminding you that you get to choose to step into your leadership and allow your voice to be heard. And now is that time. President Trump needs you. Your country needs you. And God needs you to step into your God-given power. So therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, stand firm. Let nothing move you. Always give yourself fully to the work of the Lord, for your work of the Lord is not in vain. And remember this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it out to the very end of the age. May God bless you abundantly. I'll see you tomorrow, and let's together take your power back. God bless you. See you tomorrow.
Thank you for joining us for the Take Your Power Back show. As Peak Performance Breakthrough Coach Kim Yeater speaks to other freedom-loving Americans that are making a positive impact in the world by standing in truth amid adversity. Listen in weekly and learn how to take your power back in your freedom, in your personal and professional life, in technology and creativity, and in your faith. Be encouraged, be inspired, be transformed as you step into your power and take action in your leadership and allow your voice to be heard. Together, let's take your power back. To sponsor and support the Take Your Power Back show, go to takeyourpowerbackshow.com. That's takeyourpowerbackshow.com and take your power back.